Now, if you've been watching Juice TV recently, you would have been seeing and hearing the extraordinary talent that is Josh Leys. But do you know him? Well, today is the time for you to get to know Josh Leys because he's joining me here on the couches, for NZOWN. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
So, let's find out a bit about you, because there'll be many people in New Zealand going, who is this bloke? Where did he come from? You know, where did you grow up and when did you start making music?
I grew up in West Auckland. I grew up in Oratia for 10 years. Am I a Westie? Yeah, I'm proud of my Westie roots. I live now in town just because it's easier to get around and that sort of stuff for gigs and things. But grew up for 10 years out in Oratia, just Shore Road, going towards Piha. So it was very nice and relaxed, and did a lot of riding out there. So. Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 22.
22. So how many years have you been making music for?
I started making music when I was about 11. Started writing songs. I think I listened to a bit of Silverchair that my brothers were listening to, and I really dug it. And then I ended up started writing some Silverchair kind of vibe. And then it wasn't until I was about 16, 17 that I think I heard the first John Mayer record. And then I was like, wow, I want to write a song like that. So I started writing songs a bit like that, kind of a bit more thought-provoking. And I kind of went from that frog stump sort of thing to John Mayer. And then I started listening to Police and Bob Dylan and all that sort of stuff to try to write more in that way.
Now, you draw together quite a few different influences in your music. You've definitely got that soul vibe kind of nailed down pat. Like when you're going, into writing a song, you're sort of like, I'd like to base it on this particular type of template that I've got in my head, or does it just sort of freely flow out from you?
It kind of changes, really. I think with Miracle, I think I sat down and I was like, I want to write a D'Angelo song, kind of sound as African American as possible.
Get some cornrows.
I was sitting there and I had my little hat on and I was outside my flat in Newmarket, my old flat, and I sat there and I was just trying to write this kind of really cool, funky song. That was the main aspect. I really wanted to start writing stuff that was a bit more kind of African American sounding, a bit more soul. So that's where that kind of thing came from. Was
that type of music influencing you as well as all the other people that you've talked about when you were younger?
For sure. I think Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder was a big influence. I used to dance to Michael Jackson when I was a kid all the time, and I've always loved it. And it's funny because I've actually come back to my childhood now, that with when I was about 7 or 8, where I used to listen to all the Michael Jackson stuff and Quincy Jones sort of stuff. Yeah. And now I'm kind of coming back to that with my writing style, so it's quite cool.
And now you're a man of many different talents. We've talked about the dancing, we've talked about the singing, the songwriting, and your influences. But one thing which I didn't know about you is that you are a beatboxer as well.
I am indeed, yeah.
How long have you been doing that for?
I've been beatboxing since I was a little. I was beatboxing when I was about 4, and I didn't know whether my parents knew what it was, and I think I used to do it in class, and I used to go, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And then I watched Michael Jackson doing something with beatboxing, and he did this thing for Stranger in Moscow, which was and that was the first time I kind of learnt a little bit about what I was actually doing, and then from there I just went on and learnt stuff about Razel and all the big beatboxers, and then learnt heaps of stuff off a guy called Justin Effects in New Zealand, and another guy called Robot, and just been around other beatboxers and been like, dude, how do you do that? And then beatbox and be like, oh, that's mean, how do you do it? He'd break it down for me, and then I figure it out, and it's kind of like a show and tell. You're kind of showing each other what you can do, and then you end up learning whatever they've learnt as well. You're
going to gain yourself a whole lot more kudos with a whole new audience, when they find out about your beatboxing skills.
Well, I hope I can live up to that.
So, what's in the future for you, apart from the album? Like, are you planning on maybe doing any tours around the country or overseas?
Oh, for sure, yeah. My dream is, actually, funnily enough, my dream is to to be a hip-hop producer as well, because I love making beats and things like that. So I've got a crew called Metronome Productions that I'm doing a bit of a hip-hop vibe with.
Cool.
And we've got a video in the works at the moment, so we'll see when that comes through. But I definitely want to be doing that. Yeah, my main dream is probably to be a big producer in the States, as well as doing the solo thing. You know.
Well, you've got a lot of things on your plate, but it sounds like you've got your game plan pretty well sorted out. So we'll be keeping an eye on you.
Awesome.
We will. And I'm really keen to check out the new video, which I thought maybe you could take us into that with a bit of a beatbox.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Josh Leys, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Go for it.
Cool. Your mother only knew. Show out the bum. Show out the bum.
Excellent. Well done.
Cool.
So should we check out that video?
Yeah, sweet.
It's a brand new single by Josh Leys. This is
Miracle.